Today on WTF, we're walking through how to make the best plant-based hot dogs. Hello and welcome to WTF, where we help you transform food in your kitchen. I'm Janie.
And I'm Hannah.
And on this week on WTF, we are talking all about how to make the best plant-based hot dogs. And I can guarantee you they're good because we've passed them around our office here and everybody loved them and said they were just as good as any other hot dog they've had. So we're really excited to walk you step by step through this recipe. And because this recipe, it's a little complicated, I'm going to let Hannah take it away right away so she can start on the mixing process and everything that's going to happen. And we'll kind of talk a little bit more about the ingredients and the techniques as we go through the recipe itself. All right, Hannah, I know that this is a multi-step process. What's the best place to begin?
So we're going to start off by making our hot dog base, and that is going to start off with mixing the dry ingredients, and it's all going to happen right here in our stand mixer. So first off, we have our fava bean powder, fava bean protein.
Yep. And this is really important. You definitely need a protein source for this. A lot of times in our recipes, people will write in, they'll ask, can I sub out X for Y and X for Y? I would say in a lot of the plant-based analogs, the answer is always no, because all these recipes, all these ingredients, except for the seasonings, are there for a functional purpose. So you definitely need to follow the recipe pretty close to what we're doing right now.
Yeah. And then we have some beet powder. This is going to give us that really nice pink color. We have nutritional yeast, lactic acid, and we're going to go for flavorings. We have salt, MSG, and then we have marjoram, mace, and ground mustard. All right, so we're just going to go ahead and give these a little mix together, and then we're going to add our wet ingredients. Okay, so while that's going, we are going to go ahead and add a portion of our burger binder. This has been pre-hydrated yesterday. It was just 300 grams of water and 9 grams of our burger binder.
Yeah. If you've been watching WTF for a while, you'll know that burger binder is a really important part of many of our ingredients for holding everything together. We're going to link in the description below to a brief video on how do you hydrate burger binder. If you haven't done it before, same thing in a little bit. Hannah's going to be adding some of our marbling fat. So again, that's another very special technique that we've developed for incorporating juiciness into the different recipes. So to see the step-by-step on how do you make that, link in the description below.
All right. And we have some liquid smoke as well. You can buy this at any grocery store. And we're just going to go ahead and add 4 drops of this. You can really smell the smoke.
I know.
All right.
So you can kind of see that's already taken on that pink hot dog color and texture.
We're just going to want to make sure everything's incorporated before we go ahead and add our marbling fat in. All right. Okay. So we are going to add our marbling fat in and just go slowly. Just really want this all to get incorporated in there.
So one of the most important things about the marbling fat, and you'll kind of see that in our videos as well, is that the marbling fat has to be kept cold because it's mostly a mixture of the burger binder and coconut oil, and coconut oil melts when it's heated. You don't want to take this out like, hours before. You want that really to remain as cold as possible in order to make sure that it's not melting before you have a chance to incorporate it.
And you're going to want to mix this on a pretty slow speed because we don't want to break the emulsion that we're creating.
All right, and how long do you think this needs to go on for?
I think it's just about done now.
Perfect.
You're not going to want to over mix this. And as we can see, you can still see some of the marbling fat in there, which is great because later when you go to boil and bake these hot dogs, that marbling fat is going to melt. It's going to create a really nice juicy bite.
Yeah, and if you're like, I don't have fava bean protein, can I sub out texture wheat protein or TVP? I would say the answer to that is no. There might be other powder proteins you could use, but we haven't found one that we like better for this recipe. Is really the fava bean protein is really great because it has legumes. It's like the legume protein, and it's really nice for this. It doesn't taste like beans. It's delicious.
So we've reset the table a little bit, and we are just going to go ahead and add our mixture into a piping bag. So
does it matter? I'm assuming we're going to cut a hole in the bottom of this. Does it matter how big that hole is?
Yeah, I have this cut. I'm not so sure if you can see that, but it's probably about 1.5 inches wide. You can go a little thinner, a little thicker. I think this is a good size that gives you relatively similar to a hot dog. And what we're going to do is put this in a piping bag and then actually pipe that into another piping bag. And because I found that that helps remove some of the air bubbles, and later on it's really going to help us out when we want those air bubbles gone.
Great. So as Hannah's filling the piping bag, I'm just going to take this opportunity to talk about this week's giveaway. So this week's giveaway will be all the ingredients that we carry in our store in order to make the plant-based hot dogs. So we have here just a couple of them, but if you enter the giveaway, you'll win all of them. So in order to enter the win, just leave in the comments below another recipe that you would like to see us tackle for, let's suppose in the future, any type of analogs or any revamping of our existing recipes. So enter to win.
We are just going to replace with a new one. Down. And then really pressing the air out.
So at this point, as you can see, this actually has kind of a very much a mousse-like texture. It looks great. And you can still see that the little bits of marbling fat are speckled throughout the mixture. So that at the end of the day is going to what's making this hot dog juicy. And I think I talked about it a couple of weeks ago because we did another episode around, it was a plant-based chicken sandwich and the marbling fat was in there as well. And I kind of talked about how, you know, even though these are not recipes that traditionally have, you know, pieces of fat in them, we always want to incorporate the marbling fat in order to make it juicy and bouncy. So that's what's a huge part of contributing to that texture.
All right, and for our next step, we are going to be piping this out onto some saran wrap, and then we are going to be rolling this to create a hot dog-like shape. All right. So you just want to go in a straight line along the length. Try to be steady about it.
So you can see this is not unlike making a traditional sausage.
Just handmade.
Handmade, yeah. And instead of piping into a casing, we're piping it all together. Here we go.
All right. Okay, so this comes the tedious part, and what we're going to do is start wrapping it over, kind of tightening it towards you. And as you can see, we kind of get these little air pockets all along. And we're going to want to remove this more for look-wise than anything. But you can kind of just go through. It's a little bit relaxing. Just wanted to poke all these holes, and then again, just squeeze it towards you. It's going to remove all of that air.
So what you should end up with, and kind of I can see it now, is a relatively smooth looking log, and you're removing any bumps.
Exactly. And what we're gonna do is we're just gonna keep rolling down to the end of our plastic wrap. You know, if you see any really large bubbles, you can just go ahead, get those out. And right, and then we have one very long hot dog roulade. And what we're gonna do next is actually make the links themselves. Okay, so we have a few pieces of butcher's twine already cut up. You could really use yarn or anything that you have around. You don't need butcher's twine, but I would recommend it. And if you want, you can kind of lay out and measure how long you want each of your links to be. That's totally up to you. So we're gonna get about 5 hot dogs here. And just start by tying these off. And make sure you're really tying these tight.
Okay. And in a lot of our recipes, Hannah, we talk about the importance of letting things hydrate overnight. Does this item need to be hydrated overnight?
No, it does not, which is great. And the only thing you're gonna have to pre-make is our burger binder and the marbling fat. You're gonna wanna make that a day ahead, but these are gonna be ready to boil and bake right after they're made.
And the marbling fat, usually when you make them in one batch, you end up with a lot of marbling fat. So it's a great item that you can just make in one batch, and then you can take out what you need to make the hot dogs, to make our burgers, sausages, the plant-based chicken. So that item, you know, you make in bulk, and then you can just store it and use it for all these other things. And the hydrated burger binder, I mean, that one's pretty easy to make. It's just water and burger binder resting overnight.
Yeah, and you can also store that in the fridge for quite a while. I mean, it's water-based. It's going to be fine in there. So as you see, we're really making some links right here. They look great.
Right. And what do we do with this after we're done making the links?
So after the links are made, we are going to put this in a pot of boiling water for about 5 to 6 minutes. It's just going to really start the cooking process off. It's going to make them form completely. And then what you're going to want to do, maybe let them cool down for a few minutes or so, and then you're going to cut them out of the casings.
Okay.
And put them into an oven that is set at 225 degrees Fahrenheit. And what that's going to do is kind of dry them out, because you'll see once you take them out of the casings that they kind of have a lot of excess water. So just getting rid of that excess water and getting your nice final product. You can take it the extra step and fry them, or not fry them, but grill them off in a pan if you'd like, but it's not necessary.
Well, I was about to say, I'm like, if someone wants to grill the hot dogs, do they still need that baking step, or do they just jump straight from the boiling water onto the grill to dry it off?
I haven't tried actually grilling them on a grill outside, but I mean, I think if someone wanted to try that, that would be great, and let us know if it works, if you get those nice grill marks.
I think they would definitely work. I think, so my hypothesis is if you wanted to grill them, so after the boiling step, you can leave them to just dry and then grill them on the cooler side of the grill and not directly over the direct flame. Because I don't think you want to go from wet to, like, you know, sizzling hot that fast, but I think you can definitely do it without the baking step. So now we have these. We didn't want to like bother showing you guys the boiling process. It's not that exciting. So we have some that we have already prepped.
Yep.
Is it those?
Yes, it is those.
But I love, okay, can you just hold this up real quick?
Yeah,
look how cute that looks.
I think it's great. It's really looks exactly like a hot dog link. And you can also keep these in your fridge, not cooked yet, if you just want to keep them in the link form. If you want to make this over like a little prep, you can absolutely leave them in your fridge like this.
Or if you want to do them like really, really small, you can make like, we should do that, like pigs in a blanket.
Little
my God, we should do that.
Really cute.
In future episode, right? Little hot dog pigs in a blanket, vegan, be really cool. All right.
Okay, so if you want to hand me those onions and
Yeah, I know you did a little extra because we didn't want to present just a hot dog.
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about this kind of little accoutrements that you made with these?
Yeah, so we thought it would be fun to make a vegan chili dog, so everything on this is completely vegan. We have our awesome nacho cheese recipe that is up on the blog, as well as our our chili recipe that is also vegan. So go check those out as well if you want to make this a complete Ballpark chili dog. And so we're just going to go ahead and plate these up. Okay, wait, I do.
So we like as Hannah's doing this, so we love these particular recipes because they are as good as their meat and dairy counterparts. So this one, it has our plant-based ground beef. I've seen a lot of variations where people just use like TVP, like a TVP-based chili, and those are nice, but we love our plant-based ground beef recipe, so definitely always check that out. It's the basis for chili, it's the basis for burgers, it's the basis for meatloaf, meatballs, and we have a few other surprises coming up for you in the next few weeks as well, so stick around. And remember to subscribe, like, and do all those social media things that are important.
All right. So we're going to go ahead, our vegan cheese.
Yep, and this is, I believe, it's been a while since I've tasted vegan cheese, but I believe this one is soy milk powder and
lactic acid and nutritional yeast. A few other flavorants in there, some cayenne.
Yeah, this looks amazing.
All right, and if we want to just throw on a few little jalapenos, a little bit of color. All right. Oop. Okay. You want me to cut this in half?
Sure.
Give it a taste. There you are.
All right.
All right.
So you can kind of see, I'm gonna try to pick this up without smushing
Bit
it.
of a mess.
Yeah, but you can look at this beautiful cross section right here of this hot dog. It's got this great bouncy, juicy texture. It looks amazing. All right, I'm gonna bite into it. Hold on, I'm gonna steal this plate.
Yeah.
All right. It is so good. Good thing I had this napkin stashed away here. The hot dog, it's bouncy, it's incredibly juicy, it's got like a little bit of snap that you are expecting from a hot dog, so it's not like mushy and falling apart at all. A lot of great body, seasonings you can play with, but we kind of liked our mixture because it tastes the most hot doggy to us. And of course, you know, the chili's great, the cheese. This is a great meal, like really any time of the year, but especially during the summer if you're missing having that cookout experience, you know, definitely enjoy this. All the recipes that you see today will be in the links in the description below. So if you have any questions about it, if you have any comments about what you want us to do, let us know. And until next week, from here in the Modernist Pantry Test Kitchen, I'm Janie.
And I'm Hannah.